Fairy Tail is a series I've been aware of for a long, long time, as a friend who's been a fan of it for an even longer time. Ranchi, this is for you, I guess. I'd say I think Fairy Tail starts off pretty middle of the road, pretty average, with some interesting premises and promising potential. I don't think the Macao arc does a solid layer of laying the groundwork of what to expect from the characters in the world, but I don't know if I really got much more out of it than that. But I mean, a three chapter intro arc can only go so far in setting everything up, I guess. I mean, we learn that people will join guilds to adventure or take jobs, giving a nice way to group together individuals in the story, as well as giving us a large cast to work with off the bat, and be willing to introduce more as well. The art was something I got some pretty good enjoyment from, with the characters being super expressive, sometimes overly expressive, but like more in a good way than bad, I'd say. I feel the art was pretty like standard, not in a bad way, but it was pretty standard for the most part, with some shots on important moments and panels going just like above the rest and being really nice. I do think the information about Igneal, the dragon that raised Natsu, is pretty interesting. Well, with the main character being raised by this dragon and being taught ancient magic. And I'm honestly looking forward to and interested to see where it goes. But I know it's going to be a while before I see any development or payoff for that, since, the story's going to have to build up and get into motion first before I can really delve into that. Speaking of Natsu, he seems pretty standard, not in a bad way, but he's got a lot of familiar elements. He's looking for his parents who left him, quite emotional, which powers his strength, and is like the muscle, not the brains. I don't mean this in a bad way. I do think he's pretty enjoyable, but so far I wouldn't say anything stand out yet. I haven't enjoyed it so far, as I said. I will say the guy I'm getting sick in vehicles is kind of interesting, and I wouldn't say I really find it funny. I do like it's actually been used a few times already. I just hope it doesn't get run into the ground. Natsu Powers of Flames are something I hope develops further across the series, although, as I wouldn't say it's necessarily uninteresting, it's definitely not something I'm captivated at the moment. But I do think they're having some pretty cool use of it so far. And his highlight so far has definitely been him wanting a rematch with Ezra. I'd say he's a pretty solid character so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing him develop further. Lucy's a pretty good balance to Natsu, playing the straight woman to his clown. Just like Natsu, I don't know if I'd call her anything brand new, just a solid execution of familiar characteristics. She plays the role of a smart, capable female lead who questions how the main characters are smart to do anything besides fight, and honestly, with Natsu and Gray, I don't know if I can blame her. They're really good at fighting, and so far, not much else. Unfortunately, Lucy falls victim of the curse of being a female lead, and that it's a problem that got old fast. A lot of fan service-y sexual jokes, and not only do they get old fast, they're just not funny, and I don't really see any point. They just don't feel like they add anything, and I hope that they either get toned down or just removed entirely, honestly. I mean, yeah, like I said, hopefully they lessen up or just stop. But they're definitely the biggest problem I have with her. That's just a good thing, since, the main problem I have with her doesn't involve her herself, just how she's treated. I do think her magic is interesting, but honestly, I really want to see more before I can say anything besides I think the summons are a cool idea. This is assuming she ends up doing more with her magic later on, which I feel like is a pretty safe assumption. Honestly, just like Natsu, I don't have any strong feelings, negative or positive for Lucy herself. I'm just looking forward to seeing how she develops more. And then Happy reigns up the main trio, and honestly, I don't know, I don't have much to say about him. I think his flight magic is neat. I know, like that he says I, but I don't know, I got nothing beyond that. I do want to and should talk about Greg here, but honestly, I'm just going to save him for later, since I think I'll actually more to talk about him later, and I don't really have much to say with him that I haven't already said about Natsu, which, I don't know, it feels like it kind of fits in a way. It's just probably my favorite character so far. She just has the most that I've enjoyed about her characters. I mean, her ability to re-equip her weapons and armor, just basically like train them out on the fly, is a really cool idea, one that I really like. And it's put to pretty good use so far. The hints towards something greater that she's knowledgeable about or involved at the end of Eisenwald are certainly a plot point I'm interested in seeing develop further, but just like everything else, I'm assuming this is going to take time to come to fruition. I don't really have anything major to say about Daybreak, the arc following the Macao arc, since it kind of felt like it expanded upon what was laid out in the Macao arc. I mean, giving Lucy some time in the spotlight, as well as explaining how her magic works a bit. There's something more to Daybreak, I just don't think I can see it right now, honestly. Eisenwald, however, is when things step up. Ezra gets introduced, and we see how she basically runs the show for Fairy Tail, and she recruits a terrified Natsu Grey to help her on a mission, which then leads to the introduction of the Dark Guilds, the counterpart to normal guilds, except Dark Guilds break the law and are evil, at least according to what we see in this introduction and with Eisenwald. Which Eisenwald is a Dark Guild trying to unseal Lullaby and ancient magic, which turns out to be music magic that can kill those who hear it. And then the team of Ezra, Natsu, Gray, Lucy, Happy they have to fight to stop them. and then discovering that Eisenwald's actually going after the guild masters, as Adventure labeling them a dark guild and kicking them out. By the end, Fairy Tail remains triumphant, with the member Eisenwald potentially being set up to come back in the future as an ally. And after this, Ezra and Natsu have the rematch I mentioned earlier, and then Ezra is taken away to answer the destruction caused by Fairy Tail. This seems to be for show, at least until Natsu tries breaking her out. Eisenwald was definitely the arc that I enjoyed the most so far, but that's definitely in part because it had the most room to breathe out of the first 3 arcs. I definitely felt a few times during Eisenwald that the series was just plainly stating some of the themes that I wanted to solidify and run with, something obvious and familiar, such as, the importance of friendship and relationships, seeing for what you believe in, what is right, as well as, believing in good and everyone not giving up, being present, among other things that I feel like I'm a bit too blind to see right now. I don't think I've said a huge amount here, but I'm hoping to improve on that, which is one of the reasons that I've started this channel and this style of sub-series. Hopefully I can iron out the details of this format, as well as just getting better at looking at the details of each character and arc, but that's going to take time, so I'll see you the next time I do one of these.